Right there, yo. That's the best sign flipper out here.
استاذ
Yes.
هيدا البان درس كتير.
مش قد هوديك كبير نو.
منيح.
هوديك more important.
هيدا منه important.
Important بس هوديك more important. يعني هيدا sometimes you get a question, sometimes no. But this year you will get an exercise because they skip some chapters. يعني هيدا السنة رح يجي منه هيدا sequence. Okay.
ليشون استاذ اجزام عنا هاي السنه؟
Yes.
شو
officially لحد هلا yes till now.
شوف.
Okay, let's start. Do you know حدا بيعرف شيء about sequence?
No.
What is a sequence? A sequence is like numbers related together, maybe related, maybe not. For example, sequence of even numbers. What is the sequence of even numbers? Sequence of even numbers. Who can tell what's the sequence of even numbers? The sequence of even numbers are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. to n, etc., etc. Okay, this is called a sequence of even numbers. Sequence of even numbers like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. This is called a sequence of even numbers. مثلا sequence of prime numbers. Who can tell what's the sequence of prime numbers?
prime يعني odd.
No. Sequence of prime numbers. And a prime number is a number divisible by 1 and itself. Sequence of prime numbers.
هيدا 7 11 how 13.
Yes. Sequence of prime numbers. مثلا for example are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, for example, 23, and so on. This is called sequence of even of prime numbers. Okay, so far so good. You get an idea what is a sequence?
ليش حطينا 2 هون؟
2 is a prime number because it is divisible by 1 and by itself only. Every number is divisible by 1 and itself is called a prime number. Yes?
Yes.
Definition. A numerical sequence.
Just نكتب هلا. I don't.
Yes. Don't write first. I will give you time to write. A numerical sequence is a mapping, like is a function, is a بدك, instead of mapping, is a function f from a part I of n into R. Do you know what is n?
And is all numbers.
All natural numbers. All numbers. So a numerical sequence is a function f from part I of n into R. يعني ال f هي from I into R for each natural number n عنده its image f of n, we call it un. Please stop writing شوي. If we have the function f of n equals 2n plus 1. What's the domain of definition of this function? So here I have f is a function from n into R, into the set of real numbers. For example, what is the image of 0 by this function? 0 gives f of 0. What is f of 0?
1.
1. I name it, instead of f of 0, I name it u0. u0 equal 1.
بس ما فهمت هاي لأن فوق هاي from
مش دايما function عندنا domain كنا نقول the domain of this definition of this function.
yes
domain هو هون n not r. يعني set of natural numbers not set of real numbers. زي مثل هون it is a polynomial function, its domain ما بنقول r, بنقول set n يعني 0 1 2 3 4. What is the image of 1? It is f of 1. It is 3. So u1 is 3. What is u2?
Five.
5. What is u3? What is u3?
7.
7. Here I can calculate u1, u2, u3, u7, u10, u1 million, u1. So here we get a sequence. This sequence u0, I get a sequence u0, u1, u2, u3, etc. I get un, I get un plus 1, I get un plus 2, etc. I get till infinity. So, Haikas, a numerical sequence is a function. Instead of mapping, you can put function. A function f from I, which is a part of n, into R. I put n, its image is f of n, I call it un. un is called the general term of the sequence. un is called the general term of the sequence. I is called the domain of definition of the sequence. Domain of definition هو n or part of n of the sequence. And the sequence is denoted by un, brackets un. un لحالها is called the general term, while between brackets un is called the sequence. If you have any question, please tell me.
No.
You understand what is a sequence?
Yes.
Series of numbers.
Yes?
Series of numbers.
Okay. Series of numbers. Here we get the general term, domain of definition, and the name of the sequence. And what is the sequence? Can I skip this page?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, second, determination of a sequence. One, first type. If I have the general term of the sequence, I can calculate every term of the sequence. Determination of the sequence, ways to determine a sequence. For example, the sequence UN is given as a function of n. A sequence could be written as a function of n. Un is a function of n. First way to determine a sequence can be written as a function of n. Example. Consider the sequence un defined over n by un equal to n plus 3. Here un is given as a function of n. Un is given as a function of n. So I can calculate u0 by replacing n by 0. We get 2 times 0 plus 3 equal 3. I can calculate u1. 2 times 1 plus 3. I can calculate u10 equals 23. I can calculate u50, u1 million. This un is called the general term of the sequence. So here the sequence is defined by its general term as a function of n. It is done the first example. Shabab, did you write?
Yes.
Haikaz, did you write?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Second type of sequence called recurrent sequence. Like in first time, sequence defined by general term, recurrent sequence. Every sequence that have a relation between un plus 1 and un, we have a relation between two consecutive terms, un plus 1 and un, and its first term is called a recurrent sequence. Don't write and listen, but if we have a relation between un plus 1 and un, and the first term is given, this type of sequence is called recurrent sequence. Don't write. Example. Consider the recurrent sequence un. Consider the sequence ملاحظين بbrackets يعني sequence defined by u0 equal 1. It is given that the first term is 1, and we have a relation between un plus 1 equal un plus 3. It is called a recurrent relation. How to calculate U1 شباب؟ كيف بنلاقي U1 هون؟
by comparison.
No, by replacing n by 0 in this equation. شفنا هيدي الريليشن؟ إذا حطينا محل ال n 0 شو بتصير معنا هيدي هون؟
2
1
إذا حطينا محل
plus
ال n 0 شو بتصير هاي؟
2
إذا حطينا محل n 0 بصير عندي U1 0 plus 1 is 1. بصير عندنا U1 equal U0 plus 3.
شو؟
طلعوا شوي شباب. There is a difference between UN plus 1 and UN plus 1. They are not the same. UN plus 1 هي كلها UN plus 1 يعني الترم UN plus 1. Okay. Here UN plus 1 means كلها لحالها N plus 1. UN لحالها plus 3. هون UN plus 1 N plus 1 together. إذا حطينا محل ال N 0 شو بصير هيدي؟ U1 equal U0 plus 3. U0 is 1, so 1 plus 3 is equal to 4. إذا حطينا محل ال N1 بصير عندنا U2 equal U1 plus 3. U1 لقيناها 4 بصير 4 plus 3 which is equal to 7 and etc. Any questions? Any questions still here?
No.
Right. Remarks. The term just after UN is denoted by UN plus 1. هي كلها together. The term just after UN is UN plus 1. And the term just before UN is UN minus 1. After U5 there is U6. Before U10 you have U9. So before UN we have UN minus 1 and after UN we have UN plus 1. UN plus 1 is different from UN plus 1. And UN minus 1 is different from UN minus 1. You get the idea about the last line?
أنا أصلا شرحت فوق نفس الشيء.
طيب here بس example صغير. If UN equals 5n minus 1 minus 3, what is UN plus 1? What is UN plus 1 and UN plus 1?
يلي فوق
Yes. شو بتعطينا اللي فوق؟
بدل ال n بنحط n plus 1.
بصير 5 into n plus 1 minus 3, it will be 5n plus 2. Second one, what is un plus 1?
5n minus 2.
Yes, is 5n minus 3 plus 1. It is equal 5n minus 2. So they are different, yes? Sense of variation of a function, of a sequence. We took sense of variation of a function. Okay, how to study the sense of variation of a function? What did we determine?
هيدا نعمل table.
No, لنعمل table of variation. Who tells about the sense of variation of a function?
The one increasing upon
So who indicates that? Oh, okay. Who indicates the sense of variation of a function? Who is derivative? F prime. Now, to study the sense of variations of a sequence, we study the sign of un plus 1 minus un. We have three ways. The first way, we study the sign of un plus 1 minus un. If un plus 1 minus un positive, we say that un plus 1 greater than un. As n increases, un increase. So if un plus 1 minus un positive, then un is increasing. If un plus 1 minus un less than 0, we say un plus 1 less than un, and un is decreasing. If un plus 1 minus un equals 0, then un is called a constant sequence. You got the idea about first method? So to check if un is increasing or decreasing, we study the sign of un plus 1 minus un. If it is positive, then the sequence increasing. If it is negative, it is decreasing. And if it is 0, then the sequence is constant. Example, if I have the sequence un equals n plus 3 over n plus 1, is this sequence increasing or decreasing? How to know if this sequence increasing or decreasing? Yes, boys.
It is نعمل n plus 4 over n plus 2.
First, I have to determine the sign of un plus 1 minus un equals. What is un plus 1? Un plus 1, I replace n by 1. It will become n plus 1 plus 3 over n plus 1 plus 1 equals n
شو
plus
أستاذ؟
yes.
ما فهمت هون شو عملت؟
1 minute. I need to study the sense of variations of the sequence. To study the sense of variation by the first method, I have to study the sign of un plus 1 minus un. Till here, any questions?
No.
Un plus 1 is determined by replacing each n by n plus 1. بصير n plus 1 plus 3 over n plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 minus n plus 3 over n plus 1. You understand or not? un plus 1 is calculated by replacing n by n plus 1. It will be equal n plus 4 over n plus 2 minus n plus 3 over n plus 1. The LCM, what is the LCM?
Their times.
N plus 2 into n plus 1. We expand, we get n squared plus n plus 4n plus 4 minus n squared minus 3n minus 2n minus 6. We get minus 2 over n plus 2 into n plus 1. What's the sign of this expression?
Negative.
Negative. What about the sense of variation? un is what?
Decreasing.
Is decreasing.
الN دائما positive number.
الآن هي natural number. Domain of definition of the sequence هو set of natural numbers.
This is all for today. Moses,
شو تعبت هاي كاز؟
أي والله.
طيب يلا, it is all for today. But read them for tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.
يلا باي.
Bye.